The palace of the Zilari Empire stood tall like a mountain of shining crystal and silver. Towers reached into the skies, glowing under the twin suns of the alien world. Its halls were filled with the sound of alien guards in their sharp armor, their movements perfect, trained to follow every command without hesitation. To them, honor was obedience, and obedience was survival. It was on this day that something unusual happened. A human, not an alien, walked inside the grand palace gates. His name was Ethan Kane, a soldier from Earth. He was not as tall as the alien guards, nor as strong as their massive frames. His hair was short, his eyes steady, and his walk simple. He wore the standard armor given to new guards, but it looked almost too heavy on his human frame. The alien guards whispered among themselves. "Is this the human?" one asked with disbelief. "He looks fragile," another sneered. "Why would the princess choose him? Humans do not belong here," a third said. Ethan heard them, but he kept his head high. He was chosen, not them. The mission was important. He was to serve as personal guard to Princess Leora, heir to the Empire. No human had ever held such a position before. When Ethan entered the main hall, he saw Princess Leora for the first time. She sat on a raised platform surrounded by advisors and nobles. Her presence was calm yet sharp, like a blade hidden in silk. Her long silver hair flowed behind her, and her golden eyes studied him with cold curiosity. She did not smile, nor did she frown. She simply observed. "So," she said in a voice smooth as crystal, "this is the human." Ethan bowed his head, respectfully. "Yes, Princess. I am Ethan Kane of Earth. I am honored to serve." The hall filled with laughter. Some alien nobles chuckled openly, finding his words amusing. To them, humans were newcomers in the galactic stage, a species still young and weak. Princess Leora raised her hand and the hall grew silent. "Ethan Kane, do you know why you are here?" "To serve and protect you, Princess," Ethan replied firmly. Her golden eyes narrowed slightly. "Wrong. You are here because I wish to test your kind. Many speak of human adaptability, your strange courage, and your unpredictable spirit. I do not believe in such stories. You are an experiment, nothing more. You will serve me, yes, but only if you pass my trials." Whispers rose again, this time louder. Some alien guards exchanged mocking smiles. Trials? Against them? The human would surely fail. Ethan stood still. His heart was calm, though he felt the weight of the princess's words. He was not just here for himself. He represented all humans. If he failed, it would not only be his shame, but also a mark against his entire species. Princess Leora leaned forward slightly. "Tell me, human, are you afraid?" Ethan met her gaze. His voice was steady. "I have faced fear before, Princess, but fear does not control me." A faint spark appeared in her golden eyes. It was not quite respect, but it was not disappointment either. She gave a small wave of her hand. "Very well. From this day forward, you are my personal guard. But understand this, every step you take, every action you make will be observed. If you fail even once, you will not only lose your position, you may lose much more." The threat was clear, yet Ethan did not flinch. "I understand." The first days were strange. Ethan followed the princess as she attended council meetings, royal gatherings, and ceremonies filled with alien traditions. Everywhere he went, eyes followed him. Alien guards watched, waiting for him to stumble. Nobles whispered, curious about how long he would last. One evening as the sun set, painting the skies orange and violet, Ethan stood near the balcony where Princess Leora looked out over the city. The streets below glowed with crystal lights. Ships soared through the air and the Empire stretched far beyond the horizon. "You are quiet, human," she said without turning. "A guard should not speak unless spoken to." Ethan replied. "Is that your belief, or is that what you were taught?" Ethan thought for a moment. "Both, perhaps. A guard's duty is to protect, not distract." Princess Leora turned her head slightly, studying him. "Interesting. Most of my guards try to impress me with words. You choose silence, but silence alone will not prove you." Ethan said nothing. His eyes scanned the skies, the halls, the shadows. He was not just standing, he was guarding. The princess noticed this. For the first time, her lips curved into the smallest hint of a smile, though brief. The real test began the next day. Princess Leora summoned Ethan to the training grounds. The vast arena was filled with alien warriors, their armor shining, their weapons sharp. In the center stood a cage. Inside the cage growled a creature unlike any Ethan had seen before. It had 4 glowing eyes, fangs like knives, and scales that shimmered with heat. "This," Princess Leora announced, "is a Karveth beast. Even trained alien guards struggle against it. Today, human, you will face it." The hall erupted with gasps. The alien guards whispered in disbelief. A Karveth beast was deadly, fast and merciless. Sending a human against it was like throwing a pebble into a storm. Ethan tightened his fists. His heart beat faster, but his mind remained clear. "With respect, Princess," he said, "may I ask why this test?" "To see if humans truly have the courage you claim," she answered coldly. "You may use no advanced weapons, only what a guard may carry. Survive and you prove yourself worthy to remain." The cage opened. The beast roared, its echo shaking the arena walls. Ethan stepped forward, sword in hand, shield in the other. His armor felt heavy and his breaths grew sharp. The beast charged. Ethan did not run. Instead, he dodged to the side, rolling on the ground as the claws scraped the floor where he had stood. Dust filled the air. Alien eyes widened, again and again. The beast lunged. Ethan's shield blocked one strike. His sword scraped against scales, but the monster was strong. His arms ached, and his body screamed for rest. Yet he kept moving. Humans were not the strongest, but they were stubborn. They adapted, they endured. Minutes felt like hours. Sweat poured down his face. Finally, as the beast lunged again, Ethan noticed a pattern. The beast always paused slightly before swinging its left claw. Using that moment, Ethan ducked low and thrust his sword into the joint of its leg, where the scales were thin. The creature roared in pain, stumbling back. The alien guards gasped. The human had found a weakness no one pointed out. Ethan raised his sword, but he did not kill the beast. Instead, he stepped back, breathing hard, showing restraint. Princess Leora raised her hand and the beast was pulled back into its cage. Silence fell. Every eye was on Ethan. The princess stood, her golden eyes locked onto him. "Interesting. You fought not with strength but with observation. You did not slay the beast, though you had the chance. Why?" Ethan's voice was tired but steady. "A guard's duty is not to destroy everything, Princess. It is to protect. The beast was not the threat. It was the test. And I passed without needless death." For a moment, silence held the arena. Then whispers began. Some alien guards frowned. Others looked thoughtful. Princess Leora studied him long and hard. Finally, she spoke. "Perhaps humans are not as simple as they appear. You will remain my guard for now." Ethan bowed his head. "Thank you, Princess." As he left the arena, he felt the stares of everyone. Some were filled with doubt, others with curiosity. But one thing was clear. Ethan Kane, the human guard, had taken his first step in proving himself, and though he did not know it yet, this was only the beginning. The morning sun painted the palace walls with gold and silver, as Ethan Kane prepared for the next stage of Princess Leora's tests. His armor gleamed faintly, though his body still bore the marks of the Karveth trial from the previous day. Every bruise and scrape reminded him that he was far from the comfort of Earth, yet it also reminded him that he was here to prove something greater, not just for himself, but for all humans. Princess Leora awaited him in the training hall, her expression calm and unreadable. Today's trials were not merely about strength, she explained. They would test his mind, his spirit, and his courage under pressure. "You have survived the beast," she said, her golden eyes piercing. "But survival alone is not enough. You must show the qualities that make a guard worthy of serving a princess: intelligence, loyalty, and courage. Are you ready? Ethan bowed slightly. I am ready, Princess. Good. Then we begin. First test was one of perception. Leora led Ethan to a room filled with illusions and holographic projections. Shadows flickered on the walls. Figures appeared and disappeared, some humanoid, some monstrous. The room was a maze of moving images designed to confuse, distract, and frighten. Find the true threat, the princess instructed. Identify what is real, and protect the innocent within it. Ethan's eyes scanned carefully. The projections shifted constantly, blending reality and illusion. Alien guards would have likely relied on technology, their eyes enhanced with scanners to detect deception. Humans, however, relied on instincts. Ethan moved slowly, listening to subtle sounds, feeling the vibrations under his boots. One projection lunged at him. Its claws were sharp and fast, but he realized it made no sound upon impact. His instincts told him it was fake, so he dodged gracefully and continued. Minutes passed. Ethan's steps were measured, his mind focused. The real threat appeared quietly, a small robotic creature crawling toward a helpless child projection. Without hesitation, Ethan intercepted it, lifting it gently and removing it from danger. Princess Leora's eyes narrowed in thought. No alien guard had acted this way. They would have destroyed the threat with brute force, ignoring the innocent. But Ethan's actions were precise, careful, and human, emphasizing protection over violence. Well done, she said, though her tone remained. Cool. You are not predictable, that is unusual. Next came the test of courage. Ethan was led to a long corridor filled with smoke, its source unseen. Strange sounds echoed through the thick haze, whispering threats in alien tongues. The corridor was narrow, forcing him to walk carefully. At the far end was a panel controlling the safety doors to the palace's intersections. He was instructed to reach it quickly, but only if he could remain calm and unafraid. Ethan stepped forward. His breaths were steady. The alien whispers grew louder, trying to confuse him, make him panic. He remembered the words of an Earth general. Fear is natural, but it does not have to control you. He moved carefully, feeling the walls for guidance. Figures appeared and vanished, some floating, others crawling. One shadow lunged at him. Instinctively, he dodged, but he realized it was only a projection, not real. His human mind allowed him to distinguish danger from illusion through experience and judgment, rather than pure power. Finally, he reached the control panel. With calm hands, he pressed the buttons, securing the palace doors and locking the corridor behind him. The smoke cleared, revealing Princess Leora watching silently. Most would have panicked, or turned back, she said. You continued. You acted without hesitation. Courage in humans seems to come from a strange place, a mix of hope and duty. Ethan nodded. A guard's duty is not only strength, Princess. It is resolve. The princess did not respond immediately. Her golden eyes studied him as though trying to measure the depth of his words. The third trial was the most unexpected. Princess Leora led Ethan to a chamber filled with alien nobles and high-ranking officers. Some were friendly, others suspicious. Each held a small device in their hands, projecting a holographic representation of a dangerous scenario. A fire, a collapsing bridge, or a group of hostages. Ethan had only seconds to decide which action to take. His human instincts kicked in. He did not think of honor or hierarchy, only of what would save lives. He guided the hostages to safety, using available tools and thinking quickly on his feet. Every step required judgment and creativity, something no alien guard relied upon in the same way. They had strict protocols, rules that bound them to tradition. Ethan had none of those restrictions. A few nobles whispered to each other. Look at him. He does not follow the manual. Yet he succeeds. Is it possible he thinks faster than us? Ethan felt no pride. There was only focus. His hands were steady, his eyes alert, and his heart determined. Princess Leora's expression softened ever so slightly. She was impressed, though she would not admit it openly. "Perhaps humans are different than I imagined," she said quietly. By evening, Ethan was exhausted. Sweat ran down his face, his muscles ached from constant movement, and yet his spirit remained firm. Princess Leora, noticing his weariness, decided to test his loyalty in an unexpected way. She called him to her private chamber. The door closed behind him, and the room was quiet, lit by soft lights. On the table lay a small, delicate alien artifact, ancient, priceless, and fragile. "This is a test of your loyalty," she said. "Many would be tempted to take it, to claim honor or reward. Humans are said to be ambitious. Will you?" Ethan looked at the artifact carefully. He could feel its age, its history. He could also see the unspoken trap. The room was rigged with subtle alarms designed to detect any theft. Taking the artifact would grant him temporary gain, yet betray the trust of the princess. He stepped closer to the table, then turned back. To her, "Princess, a guard's loyalty is measured not by words but by actions. I will not take what is not mine to claim." Princess Leora's golden eyes widened just slightly. She had expected hesitation, curiosity, maybe even a mistake, but none came. The human guard had chosen honor over temptation. "Well done," she said, standing. "Loyalty, courage, intelligence. You possess what few can claim in my empire." Ethan felt relief, though his heart was still pounding from the trials. He bowed. "I serve, Princess. Always." As night fell, the palace was quiet except for the distant hum of the city beyond. Ethan sat alone for a moment, reflecting on the day. He was tired, yet proud, not of himself alone, but of what he represented. Humans may be young, but they were capable of adaptation, courage, and loyalty beyond measure. Even as he rested, whispers echoed through the palace halls. Alien. Guards and nobles spoke in quiet tones, amazed by his performance. Some doubted his endurance, others admired his bravery, and a few feared the implications. If humans could survive such tests, what else could they achieve? Princess Leora, watching from her chambers, made her own calculations. The human was unlike any guard she had seen. He did not rely on superior strength, alien technology, or long tradition. Instead, he used creativity, adaptability, and heart. Perhaps, she thought, humans were not as weak as the galaxy believed. Perhaps they carried something more dangerous, the spark of unpredictability. Ethan closed his eyes, unaware of the storm of thoughts he had sparked. Tomorrow the trials would continue, growing harder and more dangerous. But he felt ready. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and they had survived. In the palace of the Zilari Empire, he would do the same, and so the human guard proved once again that courage and loyalty could shine even in a world that doubted his kind. The palace of the Zilari Empire was quiet in the early hours, bathed in pale blue light from the twin moons. Yet beneath the calm, tension simmered. Rumors had begun circulating through the court, whispers of a threat aimed at Princess Leora herself. Some claimed rival nobles plotted her downfall. Others spoke of a foreign power seeking to destabilize the empire. No one could confirm the truth, but fear had taken root in every hallway. Ethan Kane, the human guard, was not naive. He had seen enough to sense danger in the smallest details, a shadow that lingered too long, a whisper that faltered when noticed, a glance that lingered on the princess too intently. Humans relied on instinct as much as sight and hearing. He had learned quickly to trust it. That morning, as he patrolled the outer halls, he noticed something unusual. A maintenance droid, normally obedient to commands, moved erratically. Its sensors seemed tampered with, and a small compartment on its back had been opened and resealed. Ethan crouched to inspect it. Hidden inside were thin wires leading to a device no human had seen before, humming softly. It was clearly designed to trigger a trap, or worse, an attack. He reported it immediately to the palace security chief. an older alien with scales that gleamed like bronze. The chief frowned, dismissing it at first. It is probably a malfunction, nothing to worry about. Ethan's eyes narrowed. With respect, Chief, it is deliberate. Someone is testing our defenses, or planning to break them. I recommend a full investigation. The chief shook his head. You are new. Humans are clever, yes, but you overthink. Trust the Empire's systems. We are secure. Ethan's jaw tightened. He had learned long ago that caution was rarely praised, but courage and persistence often saved lives. He decided to keep watch himself, observing patterns and movements that others overlooked. Hours later, during a Grand Council meeting, the first sign of danger became visible. Princess Leora was seated at the head of the table, surrounded by alien nobles and advisors. Discussions on trade, diplomacy, and military operations filled the room. Ethan stood behind her, his eyes scanning the faces, the positions, and the objects in the hall. Something felt wrong. A young noble, seemingly respectful, fidgeted with a ring that glowed faintly. Ethan recognized the signature of a device similar to the one in the droid. The noble's attention was divided, too nervous to conceal his intent. Ethan signaled subtly to one of the other guards, a tall alien named Vornak. Watch the noble near the east panel. He is not what he seems. Vornak nodded slightly, trusting Ethan's instincts despite his initial skepticism. For humans, observation often meant survival. For alien guards, observation meant following protocol, and protocol sometimes blinded them. Suddenly, the ring glowed brighter, and the panel near the princess began to vibrate. The doors to the inner sanctum locked automatically. Gasps filled the hall. The nobles looked confused, some reaching for weapons. Ethan reacted immediately. He placed himself between the princess and the panel. His human reflexes, honed through years of training, allowed him to act faster than the alien guards who relied on scanners and rules. Step back, he shouted. The panel is rigged. The glowing device on the noble's hand activated, and sparks flew. A small explosion rocked the east wing. Smoke filled the room and alarms screamed. Alien guards froze for a moment, unsure whether to follow protocol or take immediate action. Ethan did not hesitate. He grabbed the princess's arm and pulled her to safety, rolling behind a decorative pillar just as shards of glass and debris flew through the hall. The human's instincts had saved her before the palace's defenses even reacted. When the smoke cleared, Ethan assessed the situation. No one was seriously hurt, but it was clear that this was only the beginning. Someone had attempted to harm Princess Leora, and their plan was clever, designed to exploit hesitation. Afterward, in the quiet of the princess's private chambers, Leora confronted Ethan. You were reckless, she said, though her golden eyes held a spark of respect. You put yourself in danger. You could have been harmed. Ethan shook his head. A guard's duty is to protect Princess. Hesitation can cost lives. I could not wait for permission. I acted. Leora studied him closely. You act without following protocol. Alien guards would have waited for confirmation, orders, or signals. You acted instinctively, and it worked. How do you explain this? Ethan took a deep breath. We humans rely on observation, instinct, and trust in our own judgment. Rules help, but they are not always enough. Sometimes courage and quick thinking make the difference. For the first time, Leora's expression softened. She began to see why humans were rumored to possess qualities her empire had almost forgotten. They were not just physically weaker, they were creatively stronger, able to act outside rigid structures and see paths that others could not. The palace security team, now more alert, began a full sweep of the area. Ethan worked alongside them, showing them how subtle movements, unusual behavior, and small inconsistencies could indicate danger. Alien guards followed his guidance, though some remained skeptical. Hours passed. Investigations revealed small devices planted throughout the palace. Tiny, almost invisible, designed to trigger alarms or harm the princess. Each one was clever, but Ethan noticed patterns that others missed. His human mind saw logic in what seemed random, a plan hidden in chaos. Finally, the mastermind behind the attack became clear. A rival noble, seeking to weaken Leora's claim, had used advanced technology to bypass traditional security measures. Alien guards were trained to follow rules, not to anticipate creative sabotage. Ethan's human adaptability had allowed him to detect and respond faster than anyone else. Later that evening, in the dim glow of the palace corridors, Leora approached Ethan again. "You continue to surprise me, human," she admitted, her voice quieter than usual. "You saw what others could not. You acted while others hesitated. I expected a failure, yet here you stand. What makes you so different?" Ethan smiled faintly. "We humans have survived in many worlds. We have faced dangers far beyond what we see here. We rely on each other, on observation, and on our instincts. Strength is not only in muscle or weapons, it is in courage, in thinking, in action when it matters most." Leora's eyes softened, though her tone remained firm. "Perhaps the legends are true. Perhaps humans do possess qualities that my empire has long forgotten. But this is only the beginning, Ethan Kane. If my enemies seek my life, you will face greater challenges than today. Are you prepared?" "I am," Ethan replied without hesitation. "I will protect you, Princess, no matter the danger." That night, Ethan patrolled the palace grounds alone. The moonlight reflected off the crystal towers, casting long shadows that stretched like fingers across the walls. Every sound, every movement was noted. His instincts told him the danger had not ended. It had only become more subtle, hidden in plain sight. He noticed small details: a vine that had been repositioned on the balcony, faint footprints near the supply entrance, and a minor fluctuation in the lighting system. Each anomaly was a potential threat, and Ethan cataloged them carefully. The human mind excelled at noticing patterns, even under stress. By dawn, he had mapped the likely paths an intruder might take, the vulnerable spots in palace security, and the timing of potential attacks. His notes were precise, concise, and actionable. Alien guards glanced at them, realizing the human had predicted possibilities they had not even considered. Leora reviewed Ethan's report in the morning. Her golden eyes scanned each detail, impressed despite herself. "You have turned observation into action," she said. "I expected someone strong. Instead, I have someone clever, courageous, and vigilant. Humans may be underestimated, but they are remarkable." Ethan simply nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also the quiet pride of having done his duty. The human guard had survived the first real threat to the princess, and in doing so, he had proven that courage, intelligence, and quick thinking could outweigh brute strength. For the first time, the palace realized that humans were not weak, and that one human could make a difference where hundreds of alien guards might hesitate. And so, the unseen threat had been revealed and thwarted by the unexpected skill of a human who refused to follow convention. Ethan Kane, standing quietly in the glow of dawn, understood that the Empire's eyes were now on him. He had earned the respect of some, the doubt of others, and the curiosity of the princess. But more importantly, he had taken another step in proving that humans, though small and young, possessed a spirit that could shine even in the vast galaxy. The halls of the Zalari Palace were tense. News of the attempted attack against Princess Leora had spread quickly, and whispers filled every corner. Alien guards, usually confident in their skills and technology, now moved with caution. Something in the air had changed. Danger no longer seemed distant. It was close, unpredictable, and hidden. Ethan Kane, the human guard, felt it too. From the moment he woke, he had sensed subtle movements, small irregularities that suggested the threat had not ended. His instincts, sharpened by experience and Earth training, told him to act even before the danger became visible. Princess Leora called him to her chamber. Her golden eyes, sharp and calculating, studied him closely. "You have done well, human," she said. "You stopped the first threat, and for that the Empire is grateful. But the danger is not over. A rival faction seeks my life, and they are powerful, organized, and ruthless. My guards are capable, yes, but they hesitate when rules conflict with instinct. That hesitation could cost us dearly. Ethan listened quietly, nodding. Princess, I will do whatever is necessary to protect you. Hesitation is not an option. Leora's lips curved into a small, approving smile. Good. Then we begin the true test. One that will reveal whether you are capable of defending me when others cannot. That night, the palace went into high alert. Security systems were doubled, guards patrolled corridors in pairs, and every entrance was monitored. Yet Ethan knew that these measures alone could not stop what was coming. The enemy was clever, using hidden paths, disguises, and traps designed to exploit hesitation and protocol. He positioned himself near the east wing, where previous attacks had originated. The moonlight cast long shadows across the crystalline floors, and the air was filled with the faint hum of energy shields and surveillance devices. Every sense was alert. Every movement was observed. Hours passed without incident. Some alien guards grew restless, questioning whether Ethan's instincts were necessary. Perhaps it is only fear speaking, one whispered. Another laughed softly, saying, The human is good, yes, but no more than us. Let him enjoy his luck. Ethan did not respond. He moved silently, eyes scanning, ears listening. Humans had survived not by strength alone, but by observation, courage, and quick action. Luck had little to do with it. Suddenly, a faint sound caught his attention, a soft click near the balcony railing. He crouched low, moving quietly toward the noise. Behind a decorative pillar, he spotted a figure slipping along the ledge. It was small, cloaked, and moving with deliberate precision. The intruder had bypassed multiple guards and surveillance devices. Ethan's heart raced, not with fear, but with focus. He needed to act fast. If he waited for orders, precious seconds would be lost. The human guard drew his sword silently, keeping low to avoid detection. The intruder froze, sensing movement. Ethan stepped into view, his voice calm but firm. Step away from the princess or face consequences. The figure lunged, revealing a hidden blade. Ethan blocked it with his shield, the clash of metal ringing sharply in the quiet corridor. The human moved with precision, not relying on brute force but on strategy, observation, and agility. The fight was fast and unpredictable. The intruder's movements were strange, alien, and deadly. But Ethan noticed patterns, small tells in their posture and timing. Every strike and dodge was calculated. Using his human instincts, he anticipated the next move, countering with careful precision. Finally, the intruder stumbled, giving Ethan an opening. He disarmed the enemy, sending the weapon skittering across the floor. The intruder fell back. Stunned, Ethan's shield was raised, his sword ready, but he did not strike further. He knew the importance of restraint. The intruder was not a threat once disarmed, but capturing them could reveal the mastermind behind the plot. Princess Leora entered the corridor, having sensed disturbance from her chambers. Her eyes widened as she saw Ethan standing over the intruder. You did not wait, she said, her voice a mix of surprise and admiration. You acted, alone. Most of my guards would have hesitated, following protocol and waiting for orders. You took control of the situation. Ethan bowed slightly. Protocol can save lives, Princess, but hesitation can cost them. I could not wait. Leora studied him closely. In her eyes, the respect for humans grew stronger. She had witnessed courage, intelligence, and loyalty in him, qualities that even the best-trained alien guards struggled to demonstrate. The captured intruder was questioned carefully. Under interrogation, they revealed the plot in detail. A faction within the Noble Council had planned to assassinate Leora using hidden devices and hired operatives. Their goal was to weaken the princess and destabilize the Empire, ensuring that rivals could gain influence over her decisions. The alien guards were shocked. They had never faced such a cunning plan, designed to exploit strict adherence to rules and hesitation. Yet the human guard had seen what others could not. His instincts and judgment had foiled the plan before it could succeed. Leora addressed the council. This human has acted where many would fail. His courage, his insight, and his loyalty have saved me and the palace. Perhaps it is time we reconsider our perception of humans in our empire. Murmurs ran through the council. Some were impressed, others hesitant, and a few clearly resentful. It was not common for a human to outperform alien guards, especially under life-threatening circumstances. That night the palace felt different. Guards were more alert, but also more aware of the value of observation and instinct. Ethan patrolled corridors with quiet confidence, knowing that the danger had been revealed but not entirely removed. He observed, anticipated, and stayed ready. Princess. Leora called him again to her chambers. You acted without hesitation, without waiting for orders, and saved not only me but also the palace. Your actions are unusual, even remarkable. How do you maintain such focus under threat? Ethan thought for a moment. We humans are small, Princess, but we survive by noticing what others miss, by acting when others hesitate, and by trusting our judgment. Strength alone is not enough. Courage, loyalty, and intelligence matter more than brute force. Leora nodded slowly. Perhaps that is why humans are underestimated in the galaxy. You do not rely solely on technology or tradition. You rely on your mind, your heart, and your instincts. That may be more powerful than anything my empire possesses. For the first time, she allowed herself a small, genuine smile. It was rare for her, a princess raised with strict rules and careful calculation. Yet this human had challenged her expectations at every turn. In the days that followed, Ethan worked closely with Leora and the palace guards to reinforce security. His observations, human adaptability, and creative solutions allowed them to detect hidden threats that had previously gone unnoticed. Alien guards began to see the value of instinct, quick thinking, and courage without hesitation. Ethan did not boast. He acted quietly, methodically, ensuring the princess and the palace remained safe. Yet everywhere he went, eyes followed him. Some filled with admiration, others with doubt, and some with cautious respect. Humans were no longer merely guests in the empire. They were something more, unexpected, capable, and dangerous in ways the galaxy had not imagined. Princess Leora, observing. Ethan made a silent decision. She had seen the courage, intelligence, and loyalty of humans through one man, and she knew the empire could benefit from these qualities, even if the council struggled to accept it. Ethan Kane, the human guard, had survived his first true test against an organized threat. He had acted when others hesitated. He had saved lives through instinct, courage, and clever thinking. And in doing so, he had proven something that no one, not even the most elite alien guards, could deny. Humans were capable of greatness far beyond what appearances suggested. The turning point had come. The Empire would remember this moment, and the human who had faced danger alone would not be forgotten. The palace of the Zalari Empire was alive with anticipation. News of Ethan Kane's actions had spread like wildfire. Across the halls, whispers of the human guard's courage and intelligence echoed from every corner. Alien guards and nobles alike debated what they had witnessed. A single human had acted where hundreds of their elite soldiers hesitated. Princess Leora stood in her chambers, her golden eyes calm but thoughtful. She reflected on the past days, the trials, the Karveth beast, the illusions, the hidden threats, and the final confrontation with the intruder. Each event had revealed one undeniable truth: humans were not what the galaxy expected. They were clever, courageous, and loyal in ways the most disciplined alien species often failed to be. She had to decide. The council would question her judgment. Her people would resist. But Leora knew that some decisions must be made for the future, not for tradition. Ethan Kane walked through the palace halls, his steps quiet but confident. Though young in years, he had endured more challenges in days than most alien guards had faced in decades. Yet he remained humble. His goal was simple: protect the princess and do his duty. As he passed through the grand hall, alien nobles whispered among themselves. Some shook their heads in disbelief. "He is only human," one said. "How can one human surpass centuries of training and experience?" Another, more thoughtful, added, "Perhaps we have underestimated them. Perhaps there is strength in something we do not fully understand." Ethan paid no attention. He had learned long ago that admiration or doubt were irrelevant in the face of duty. What mattered was action, observation, and courage. The council meeting that afternoon was tense. Leora entered with calm authority, followed by Ethan. The hall was filled with leaders, advisors, and guards. Their faces showed curiosity, skepticism, and unease. None had expected the princess to bring a human into such an important gathering. "Esteemed council members," Leora began, her voice clear and firm, "you have seen the events of recent days. A plot against my life was uncovered and prevented. The individual responsible for saving me is here among us." She gestured toward Ethan. Gasps and murmurs filled the hall. Many had witnessed his courage, but now they faced the truth. A human had acted where elite alien guards could have failed. Leora continued, "This human, Ethan Kane, has proven that courage, intelligence, and loyalty are not bound by species. He has acted when others hesitated. He has saved lives and preserved the safety of this palace. For that I recognize him not only as my personal guard but also as my chief advisor on matters of security and strategy." The room fell silent. A few nobles stared in shock. Some whispered, questioning the decision. Protocol, tradition, and hierarchy had always dictated their actions, but the princess had made a bold choice. Ethan's heart remained steady, but inside he felt the weight of responsibility. He had never sought recognition. He had only sought to protect, to act with intelligence and courage. Now the recognition was real, and with it came expectations. One senior council member, an elder with glimmering silver scales, stood and spoke, cautiously. "Princess Leora, while we acknowledge the human's success, is it wise to elevate a species so untested within our empire? Humans are young, fragile, and unpredictable." Leora's eyes narrowed. "Unpredictable, yes, but therein lies their strength. They do not follow rigid protocol, yet they think, observe, and act. They possess qualities that my empire has forgotten, qualities that may protect us where strict rules cannot. To dismiss this human would be to ignore the future." Some members frowned, others whispered, and a few nodded thoughtfully. The room was alive with tension, but the princess remained calm. She had made her choice, and she would not falter. After the council meeting, Ethan accompanied Princess Leora to the balcony, overlooking the city. The twin suns had set and the lights of the empire glowed softly in the evening. Ships moved silently across the sky, and distant towers gleamed like stars on the horizon. "You have changed the way many in my empire see humans," Leora said quietly. "Do you realize what you have done?" Ethan shook his head. "I did. What any guard would do, Princess. My species may be different, but the duty remains the same. Protect those in need and act when necessary." Leora smiled faintly. "And yet, you have done more than any guard could. Your courage, intelligence, and loyalty have set an example. Perhaps the galaxy will begin to see humans not as weak, but as a force capable of great deeds." Ethan looked out over the city, feeling both pride and humility. He knew that humans had much to learn and the galaxy was vast and dangerous. Yet this moment was proof that even one human could make a difference where others might hesitate. In the days that followed, Ethan's role expanded. He advised the princess on security measures, trained select guards in observation and instinct, and worked with intelligence officers to uncover subtle threats. Alien guards began to respect his judgment, some even seeking his guidance when faced with difficult decisions. The palace atmosphere changed subtly. Alien leaders began to see humans differently, not as weak outsiders, but as unpredictable, adaptable, and courageous allies. Rumors spread throughout the empire. Humans were not merely young and fragile. They carried something stronger, something the galaxy had overlooked. Princess Leora noticed the change most of all. She had suspected the truth about humans before. Ethan arrived, but now she saw it clearly. They possessed qualities that her people had lost: adaptability, quick thinking, courage without hesitation, and loyalty from the heart. One evening, a celebration was held in the palace gardens. Lanterns floated above crystal fountains, music echoed softly, and the air was filled with the scent of alien blooms. Nobles, guards, and advisors gathered. For the first time, humans were not outsiders. They were recognized as part of the Empire's future. Princess Leora stood with Ethan at her side. This celebration, she announced, is not for victory over a single threat. It is for recognizing courage, intelligence, and loyalty wherever it is found. Today we honor a human who has proven that one individual can change the course of events. Applause filled the gardens. Some nobles clapped hesitantly, still adjusting to the idea. Others joined enthusiastically, inspired by the truth of Leora's words. Ethan remained humble, bowing only slightly, letting the moment speak for itself. Later in quiet conversation, Leora asked Ethan about his thoughts. "Do you think humans truly belong here, in an empire of beings older and stronger?" she asked. Ethan smiled faintly. "We are young, yes, but that gives us flexibility. We think quickly, adapt, and act when necessary. Strength is not only muscle or longevity, it is the will to act and the courage to protect. If humans can serve, learn, and stand by those who need them, then yes, we belong anywhere." Leora nodded, her expression thoughtful. "Perhaps the galaxy underestimated humans for too long. Your actions, Ethan Kane, have shown that size, strength, or tradition alone do not define greatness. Heart, intelligence, and courage do." Months passed and life in the palace continued, but nothing would ever be the same. Humans were no longer merely a curiosity. They were a presence to be respected. Alien guards trained in new ways, inspired by Ethan's methods of observation, judgment, and action. Nobles reconsidered their assumptions. Even the council, initially hesitant, began to recognize that humans could be an asset rather than a liability. Ethan himself remained vigilant. The galaxy was vast and threats were never-ending. Yet he felt a quiet confidence. Humans had proven that even one individual could make a difference. Adaptability, courage, loyalty, and intelligence were powerful weapons, sometimes stronger than brute force. Princess Leora often watched him from her chambers. She had been the one to test him, to doubt him, and to challenge him. Yet now she respected him not just as a guard, but as an example of a species she had underestimated. She knew that with humans by her side, the Empire could face challenges in ways it never had before. The final moment came unexpectedly. A delegation of alien leaders arrived from distant worlds expecting to challenge the princess's authority or question her decisions. They were met with calm confidence. Leora introduced Ethan Kane, explaining his role, his actions, and his qualities. The delegation was stunned. One by one, they realized that humans were not fragile, not insignificant, and not predictable. They were intelligent, courageous, and loyal. The galaxy had misjudged humans for centuries, and as Ethan stood beside the princess, silent but firm, everyone watching understood the truth. Sometimes, the smallest species could have the greatest impact. Humans had been underestimated, and the galaxy would never do so again. Ethan Kane, the human guard, had not only survived the tests and thwarted threats, he had changed perceptions, inspired respect, and proven that humans, with heart and courage, could shine brighter than anyone expected.